Hello, welcome to the Nintendo Bros podcast. I'm Pete.
And I'm Derek.
And we are brothers. And what do we do on the show, Derek?
We discuss video games, mainly Nintendo, but all things video games.
Exactly. I mean, if you're watching a podcast called Nintendo Bros, then you can probably assume that we like Nintendo.
We focus on Sega products, mainly.
Yeah, we're all about Sega Game Gear. That'd be a good podcast. I'd listen. Anyways, we have a pretty exciting week, I'd say, for Nintendo. It's one of those kind of apex weeks, that they rarely have, where there's a big release and big news, and all the news seems to be cycling around them. I think there's two major pieces of news that we can talk about today, Derek. That's this final Smash character announcement, and Metroid. What do you think we should talk about first?
Let's start with Smash Bros.
Okay, let's talk about Smash Bros. So, just the other day, I don't think either of us were able to watch it live, but they did the final reveal of the final Smash Brothers DLC character from Fighter Pass 2.
I actually did watch it live, just so you know.
Oh, you did? You did catch it? Oh, okay.
Well, I was helping a student in a help room, and like 6 of the other kids put it on the projector because they wanted to watch, and their teacher let them.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah. So
let me know what was your experience watching it.
I mean, I was helping a student at the same time, so it didn't work that well to like fully get immersed in it. But it was pretty cool because I was like looking up, and the moment I saw the Mickey Mouse like part of the weapon, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it's Sora.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool.
Did you think it was somebody else when you saw the little flame in the cutscene starting?
I wasn't paying attention enough to really like analyze it of what it could be. There's a moment where I thought it might have been like a Dark Souls thing, because I know it kind of looked like a bonfire. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think that was going to be the character, so I just figured I'd wait. And then I honestly really had no idea until the moment I saw that Mickey symbol.
It was a high quality cutscene. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too.
Did the students, were they like super stoked about Sora? Like, are students these days into Kingdom Hearts?
It's funny. Like, I think the students that were in the classroom with me, they were like, they like Smash Bros. And they follow video games, but I don't think they were like the Smash scene at my school. Because like the kids that I played Smash Bros. With at my school a couple of years ago, they would have been super psyched. But these kids were kind of like, oh, that's cool, but they didn't seem very enthusiastic about it.
I'm always just taken back by how popular Sora is, because to me, I mean, none of my friends really like or were ever into Kingdom Hearts, and I'm talking all the way back to high school. I don't remember any of my friends playing Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2.
I have a lot of friends, or even just people that I know that played Kingdom Hearts, but most of the people that played them and liked them and follow that series are people I would consider not very serious gamers. Like, I find a lot of my friends that have played Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, I don't know what the side games, are people that don't actually play that many video games, period.
They just love Disney? Like, what is it?
I don't know. I think they just played the first one and liked the Disney, and then they kind of like, that was the hook on the first game, and now they kind of just play that franchise for that sole reason, kind of, to go through the movies that they've watched.
I mean, it's just interesting to me because Sora, Sakurai said that Sora was the number 1 pick from the ballot.
I mean, we can't deny that Kingdom Hearts is a huge franchise, so people are playing it. We just might not know them.
True. I just figure. I mean, I'm just surprised that Sora was the number 1 character. I mean, compared to Geno.
I just mean Geno's like an old, side character from one game.
I know. I was kidding about that because Kingdom Hearts is way more popular.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was interesting. I think the stage that he comes with is one of probably the lamest stage from all the DLC stages.
I agree as far as the stage goes, but I saw some people that were happy because it's actually a stage that people have wanted for a long time that doesn't exist. Is a tournament approved stage with one upper platform.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed about it. Like, as a mechanical level, it actually looks like a decent stage. I thought we had a stage like that already.
We have the closest we have is Smashville, like the Animal Crossing ones, but the platform moves. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Where this one, it stays there the whole time.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a Final Destination with a raised platform almost.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so again, I agree. Like, I think the background looks cool or whatever, but yeah, there's nothing interesting mechanically. But I know I was reading a lot of people are excited for it to be included in tournaments, and they were excited partially because one of the mechanics in the level is when the time's getting low or your stocks are nearing the end, they'll take you to that kind of final area of the level. So people are excited, saying, how hype will it be when, the last fight of the last round of the tournament, the last stock, it changes into this final area and they're just duking out on this final like kind of section of the game.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I must have missed that part of the direct.
Yeah, so in the last few minutes of the last stock, it changes to that area with like the clock in the background. And it becomes all black, and there's one final area, so it's like supposed to be kind of an epic ending to the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I overall, I mean, I'm not that excited about Sora or the stage, but I'm happy that other people are happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't personally excite me. I think I'm mainly excited because other people are stoked for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and he looks like a pretty decent character. I mean, more or less, he's a sword.
I think I'm going to main him. He looks like right up my alley.
Really?
Wow. He's got amazing off-the-edge game, and he's a sword fighter, which I'm really comfortable with. So, yeah, I like being off the edge, jumping around, knocking people away.
I mean, it's interesting, Smash Bros. So it has 89 characters.
Yep.
That's counting Pokemon Trainer as 3. Mm-hmm. And I think Pyra and Mythra as 2 as well. So I don't know how much that counts. But
I think they all have different movesets.
True. But
I count them more than I count Dark Samus.
Or Daisy.
Exactly.
I feel like they could have just had one more character to get to 90.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like,
I think isn't there also the levels isn't a perfect square either? I mean, we'll find out.
No, it's like 105 levels. They did kind of a stats thing in the final trailer there.
I know, but like on the level selection page, when they add this Kingdom Hearts level, I'm curious if they'll like make it like a grid that's perfect.
I wonder. Isn't it just missing the one space?
Well, 15 by 7 is 105. But if the random space, so it might be one extra. Like I don't know.
But you're talking about the stage select or the character select?
The stage select. I don't think the character select will be filled either.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I really did think the final character was going to be a first party, so I'm a little surprised. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see it both ways. Where, like, if you think about the last character from the first DLC pack, right? That was, I think, Byleth, right?
Yeah.
So, I think some people were actually expecting kind of another Nintendo character playing it safe, just promoting one of the games. That's why I actually believed it was Emmy, like I mentioned on the podcast earlier.
I honestly think Emmy would have been so cool.
I think it would be cool, too.
With a Metroid Dread-like stage as well.
Yeah. I think that would be awesome. But maybe next time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So but no, I mean, I feel like they did what they needed to do. This is the last Smash character of the last, probably the biggest. I'll say biggest Smash Bros. Roster we'll probably ever see, at least for a long time.
Wow.
So like for me, and I saw someone say it's really cool. It's cool that the last character for the greatest fighting mashup universe of all time is a character from the greatest franchise of mashup franchises of all time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if people are reaching for funny one-liners on Twitter, that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Overall, I think that. I mean, what do you like better, the first Fighter Pass or the second one?
I think the second one has higher highs for me, but the first one overall is better.
Really? Okay.
I mean, Banjo-Kazooie, I think maybe made the first one.
That was definitely the hypest.
Yeah, I was gonna say the highest of all the highs. But Sephiroth is really cool to see, and I really think Sora is an awesome fit. I
like Min Min as well.
Yeah, I like Min Min, but as far as the hype, whatever to me.
The hype? Well, no, I guess for me, Min Min and Steve were my two highlights from the second round of
Yeah,
characters.
I think Steve is cool. I think Sephiroth is my highlight for this second pass. He's just such a badass character to have in the game.
Do you play as him a lot?
I did when he first came out. I do like him a lot. He's my friend Brandon is like that's his main now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where when people kind of ask, like, are you happy with the Fighter's Pass? To me, overwhelmingly, yes, because the value is so high. I mean, you get a stage, a character, a new spirits, tons of music, all the hype and hoopla around it, and you also get the new classic mode, like, run. So you get a huge value, and for me, I would probably buy the Fighter's Pass even if I didn't like all the 5 characters specifically.
Yeah.
I just love it, yeah.
I just want to have a complete game. It's kind of funny. I have a friend. He has Smash Bros. He's unlocking the characters right now, but he will never buy the DLC. So it's like whenever I hang out, like all of us hang out, I always have to use my Switch because he will always have the inferior game.
Why
forever.
won't he buy the DLC?
He's not as big in a Smash Bros. Like again, he's had the game for 6 months and has maybe 30 of the characters unlocked.
Oh wow! So he's like
he plays with us. Like he has it to play with us. But why would we ever play his version when my version will always be superior?
Well, then why would he buy it at all just to play with you guys?
Because he's the kind of guy that's like, oh, I'm going to buy it and play it myself and enjoy it. And it's like, he just never would.
Okay. Well, 30 characters isn't bad. That's good. That's
yeah, like,
1/3 of the roster. Depends if he's counting 3 as Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really wish that they would keep going with the Fighter Pass number 3. It sounds like from the, just from analyzing the the Smash Bros. Direct, that Sakurai, I mean, he was pretty straight up about it. He said goodbye, they clapped. He didn't hint at any new games or hint at more to come. He's like, this is done. He talked about how long it's been.
They did a nice summary. Like, it's over. It's done.
It's over. I mean, I think we'll see a 4K DLC included Smash Bros. Version at some point.
That's what I am curious about. That is if they're going to do a port or like an upgrade for the next system, and if all of the rights for all the characters have already been built in for that.
I think as long as it's the same game, they would.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't make that same game for the next 25 years and keep milking in on it and not.
Well, we don't really know what arrangements Nintendo made. Like maybe on the on the Wii when they made an arrangement with Snake, it was just for that one game and it was really a tight agreement. And then they lost him for Wii U and they kind of went, no, we need to. Once you're in a Smash Bros. Game, we have you for life. So
yeah, I mean,
maybe now all these characters are pretty much in it for life. I doubt that, though. I feel like if they do a totally new Smash Bros. Game and rebrand it, they can't just put Sora and Pac-Man and everybody in it. They'll have to renegotiate.
Yeah, I'm really curious about... I wish I could have been at the negotiating table or the phone call or whatever between Disney and Sakurai. Because I always think about this for every kind of big character is who's kind of handing money to who or who's giving the opportunity to who.
I imagine Nintendo gives some percentage of the sales from the Fighter Pass character to that publisher.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I just mean,
or they just see it as such a big marketing opportunity, right?
That's what I mean. Like, who actually is winning out in this deal? I don't know. It's something I just wish I could know more about. It's an interesting kind of situation because at the beginning, if the first or second Smash Bros. Game, if they did this, I could understand. Even Sonic in the third one, I could see why they might be paying money for Sonic or some kind of deal for Sonic. But now Smash Bros. Is so big and there's so many iconic characters in it, like floods Twitter of all the art in the characters, that I'm just curious if Disney in a way wanted this, and they were very negotiable when they were approached.
Who knows, really? I mean, I can't imagine there's any like hostile dealings when it comes to putting playful video game characters in playful video games. I mean, I can't imagine it's too tense, but it's also interesting to note that the game doesn't have any Disney representation. It's not like they're fighting on the Disney Magical Kingdom and Mickey Mouse shows up in the background. It's very, very watered down to the basics.
Yeah, the only thing that actually is Disney representative is the little mouse symbol on that keychain in the video.
I was surprised that was even in it at all. I was like, wow, that's a little too on the nose. I thought they would strip it down even more.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about what icon will be for Sora. You know, like every character has a different logo icon.
Yeah.
Because I always imagine it to be the Mickey Mouse logo.
That it might be the Mickey Mouse logo or a key with the Mickey Mouse head on
Yeah,
the key.
I mean, who knows?
I mean, it's like they really did nail all of Square Enix's biggest franchises.
Yeah, I agree. I think Square Enix like really
got the best reps, probably.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm trying to think who else has good reps, but I think
Well, I mean, Microsoft got two pretty decent ones. I mean, they got Minecraft and Banjo.
Yeah, and Doom Guy, me clothes.
Yeah, I read I mean, I'm sure you saw it too, where some people are speculating that in the next Kingdom Hearts, this will actually be built in canon. Like, it'll be built part of the story. Like, because I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3, and I don't want to spoil for those that, of our 10 listeners that haven't played it and want to.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, like, at the end, there's some kind of cliffhanger for, what happens to Sora. So people think that, it could actually be, they could explain that in the fourth game as he went to another universe to fight all these different characters or something. So there might be like a little nod to it, I think, which would be cool.
As long as they don't mention the word Smash Brothers. It has to be like, I was in a distant fight with a bunch of other characters.
Yeah, from like the greatest fighters from all the other realms or something.
And that game will come to every system but the Nintendo system.
Yeah.
Which was also funny that they announced all the Kingdom Hearts games, but the cloud versions.
Is it all of the games are cloud
all
versions?
Of them.
Or just,
all of them.
See, I thought it was just the third one, but okay, that's a little bit.
So I guess if you're playing the original or Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix or whatever it's called, it's your cloud streaming it, but it's playing remotely somewhere else on a PS2. Because these are literally PS2 games, so I'm really surprised they couldn't at least. I mean, I understand Kingdom Hearts 3 needing the cloud version.
Me too, but not 2 and 1.
Not the other ones. Like, they could come on. I mean, they made it work on the Xbox. It's not like it's this weird Frankenstein developed game for PS2.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is disappointing that this franchise isn't more represented on Nintendo consoles. It's probably the reason I don't really have any connection to it at all. I mean, if they had released Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2 on GameCube back in the day, I mean, that wouldn't have happened, but a little more on the Nintendo front, and it probably would have had me a bit more interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
But stepping back a bit, it's kind of an obvious pick. I think that Smash Bros. Overall now it leans a little too heavy on the JRPG side. And I think it would have been nice if the roster leaned a little more on the Western audience. Maybe having a fighter from Mortal Kombat like Scorpion or a Doom Guy or a Master Chief, somebody to represent first-person shooters. I don't know. It just feels like it makes sense, the characters they chose, but I also wish it was a little less anime JRPG and a little more, Marines with guns.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think there's definitely kind of a hole there in that kind of more Western genres that are missing.
Yeah.
But
like Scorpion, imagine if it was Scorpion, that would have been wild.
Yeah, and I mean, even I know Goku's tossed around a lot. Like, even Goku, I know it's not necessarily Western, but it's not a JRPG, and it is. Goku is huge in the West too.
Yeah, you know what my dream was, because I know they were hyping it up a lot. It was that they were going to do something like hey, the last character is actually going to be 3 characters. I think we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah,
like the last character is going to be 3 or 5 characters, and it's going to be like all from this. But I thought it'd be really cool if at some point, I don't know, I think we've talked about this before, they do like an expansion for Smash Bros. Mm-hmm. And it's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe expansion, the MCU expansion. And it comes with like, Spider-Man, Hulk,
I would hate
Iron Man, and like maybe
don't
5 levels.
Smash Bros with that garbage.
I just think that'd be so cool, and the Smash Bros engine and fighting mechanics are perfect for a Marvel type spin-off. Like, I would love if Disney Marvel went to Sora and Bandai Namco and said, "Hey, can you make this game and use the exclusive license and you like literally just use the Smash Bros engine and do it?"
Oh yeah, if it's a different game, then sure, I think it'd be cool.
Different game or a crossover, but I would love to just see like the Marvel Smash Brothers, like a spin-off of Smash Brothers. Maybe Sakurai lets his even if Sakurai moved on to new games and like let his proteges just continue to make it.
I would not want Marvel as the next characters though. They're
Maybe
like
not the next characters, but
maybe like top 180.
But its own game. Like, let's say Smash Bros.
Its own
Got a
game.
side
Yeah.
spin-off.
If they made instead of a Marvel versus Capcom, they made a Marvel versus Nintendo, that would be awesome.
But in the Smash Bros. Style or a different style?
I wouldn't honestly care. I like MVC games, so either one.
True, okay. Well, moving on. So the other big news this week or day or month or year or decade is obviously Metroid Dread. Mm-hmm. Reviews dropped this morning. It's funny, like every point of this game's hype cycle I've been so excited for. Like even though when there was like there's previews dropping on Monday, I was like, oh my god, I can't wait till Monday. And even today, like I couldn't wait for the reviews. Kind of feeling like, oh no, I hope it's good, right? You kind of get nervous that you're gonna click on Metacritic in the morning and it's gonna be, 58,
Yeah,
or 65.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was ever gonna be in the 70s. There's no way.
No, I think it was a lock for the 80s, and right before. I mean, so just so our listeners know, Derek and I kind of sometimes do little bets on Metacritic scores. I think you landed on a 90 and I was a 92, right?
Oh, I thought I went up to an 89. I thought.
You went up to a 90. I asked if you wanted to change it.
I think I changed it to
Well, it doesn't.
Yeah.
We weren't keeping any real score. I mean, I had a 92, but it landed on an 88, which is pretty high. Did you read any reviews or watch any video reviews, or did you just kind of look at scores?
I said 89, and then you said I'll stick to my 92.
Okay. Well, you would have won a couple points on it if you had decided to put it on the poll.
So I didn't.
You didn't.
I needed a fact check. I know. I know what I said. Sorry.
Well, you should have put it. You should have added it to the final poll.
I know. What a big mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry. What was your question?
I was saying, I was asking if you had read any of the reviews or kind of looked at any of this media.
I saw the score, and then I read some people's comments about stuff and what the main criticisms were, and they don't seem to be too big of criticisms that I don't think I'm gonna not enjoy them for those reasons.
So yeah, the criticisms. It's interesting. It doesn't seem like there's one big major criticism across the board. It's like different reviews have different
little nitpicks,
cons, like nitpicks. So it kind of shows to me it's like, this is a 35-year-old franchise. Maybe people just come into it with certain expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw one thing repeated that said it was very hard. It's actually a really hard game. Like no one's saying it's too easy.
Yeah.
So that actually gets me excited, even though some people are saying it's a con. I mean, I can't be harder than Hollow Knight, right?
Oh, I doubt it. Are you gonna play it on normal or hard mode?
Yeah. So we learned that there's a normal and a hard mode, but I believe you have to start on normal and you only unlock hard when you beat the game.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing 2 playthroughs for sure.
It's probably the same, but I'll probably start on normal. Like usually, what I would do is do a normal run, get 100%, and do a non 100% hard run.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I usually read like what makes it harder. Like, is it just? It probably won't be like a changing of the AI and the enemies or the bosses changing patterns. It's just probably more damage.
More damage as normal. Yeah.
Yeah, like more damage taken, less damage given, kind of.
But
thing. Less health.
I remember there were some bosses, and I think it was Metroid Fusion that had a hard mode, where some of the bosses you would run out of missiles before you could kill them, unless you really aimed well and you had enough expansion packs. Like there was a boss I think that required like 65 missile hits, and you only could get like 85 at the time of that boss, so you had to actually like play it well.
Wow.
Yeah, so it could be good. And I was reading some people, what they liked, and some people said it was so close to being this is so close to being the best Metroid, but Super Metroid still edges it out. But they said it has the best atmosphere, the best bosses, the best upgrades, the best mechanics. They said it only falls short, and sometimes it's the music isn't great, and sometimes it feels a little linear and like little nitpicks. But
Fusion was incredibly linear though.
I know.
My understanding is that it's funny because this game comes out in literally like 24 hours. Like I'll be playing it tomorrow at midnight when it unlocks. I've already preloaded it on my Switch. So this conversation is dated so quickly, but I do like to talk about these things like before this is the last time we'll be able to talk about it having not played it, right? So it's a different take on it. But my understanding is that the way they approached the game is a little bit of a mix of Fusion's linearity and kind of controlled sections, but it has the major middle part is like Super Metroid, where you can go and get unlocks in different orders and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I recently replayed Super Metroid, and it's more open than I even remember it being, when I played it years ago. Like, you really can miss entire big
you can
upgrades.
go anywhere.
You can go out of order in what you're getting, and you can go back and get upgrades that you're like, wow, I wish I'd gotten this sooner, and you didn't have it forever.
You should watch Super Metroid speedrun. That's low percent, because there's things that they can only get the items that are mandatory, and some of the skips they do are just ridiculous.
Yeah, sometimes when I watch speedruns like that, I see them like jump through walls and stuff, and I kind of lose interest when they're glitching it out.
That one's not like, usually it's like glitchless. Just watch it. I mean, you don't like speedruns, but I would recommend watching it.
You know what's funny? While right when I beat Super Metroid, I actually did that. I did watch a bunch of speedruns, and like 1 hour speedruns and 2 hour speedruns. It took me about 6 hours to beat it. That's the other thing. Like, I don't know if you saw that Metroid's around 10 to 15 hours, Metroid Dread.
Well, I did now.
Well, I know you didn't want to hear about it when I asked you, but I don't know if that's really a spoiler.
Yeah, it's okay. Honestly, I did actually see... Someone had said that, so it's not... Yeah.
And I've heard really positive things about the story and the bosses, so I'm still kind of holding out for some big surprises. Things that we haven't seen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome ride.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm totally stoked. I did sort of... Part of me did expect... Like, looking at the reviews, like, review-wise, I did kind of think it had a potential to review higher. And I'm curious why it didn't review higher. Like, I mean, you got to think, this is the 5th Metroid game in a series of where, like, all 4 of them are absolute classic 10 out of 10. And I do wonder if sometimes it's one of those, areas where reviewers thinking, oh, geez, like, I don't want to like give this a 10, and then it becomes a Skyward Sword situation where my review is almost laughed at.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to give it a 7 or a low score, and then everyone thinks I've like given this classic game, like when GameSpot gave Tropical Freeze a 6.5. So I feel like they're like, it's almost like there's a safe bet in giving it like an 8 to a 9. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like,
yeah,
hey, it's a classic game. Even if this game is like revered for like decades, like 30 years from now, people still love it and consider it a classic. No one's gonna look like a fool for giving it an 8 or a 9. But
no, so exactly.
But it's like, but does it have the weight of a? Because when I think about a game like Super Metroid or the original Metroid or even Fusion, I think about games that are higher than 88 on Metacritic, right? I think about games that are like 95 and 90s. Yeah. And if something like Metroid Prime 4 got an 88, people might be a little bit disappointed. And I mean, imagine if a Zelda game got an 88 on Metacritic. People would be burning down their cities and like rioting.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a very long thing. I have a lot of ways to comment on this. The first thing I would say is I agree with you about kind of playing it safe. I mean, a few times I've told you, Metroid or just big Nintendo franchises get bumped up a few points just because I think reviewers are worried about lowballing it and getting flack for it.
Yeah.
I agree with you also in the opposite sense, where I don't think anyone's gonna skyrocket the score just out of fear of being the only 10. They give a 10, and it's like actually a 7 game.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of Nintendo games do fall in that 80 or high 70 to 90 range. So yeah, I see what you're saying there. And as far as like Metroid Prime 4 goes, I think it's a totally different beast. I think that game will clear 90s. I think there are franchises, and I know Metroid's the same franchise, but I can kind of differentiate the 3D and the 2D. I think it has a different kind of expectation or air about it. So I think that when it comes out, it will review that much higher, because reviewers will say this is a 90 quality game, as opposed to someone looking at this game and saying it's an 80 quality game. Just like kind of Zelda, right? Like some Zeldas are 80s, like I think more than just Skyward Sword. But they'll comfortably give them 90s because they just know that like it's an awesome franchise, and they just boost it. I mean, I think they just subconsciously, reviewers just boost big franchises like that a few points. That's why I think.
True,
I think even Halo. I think every Halo game is several points higher than probably what it actually is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not to say these aren't excellently made.
I'm not saying they're excellent. I'm just saying if you compare it to a non-IP or non-huge game, it would probably review lower even if it was the same game. What I find is so surprising is if I look at Metroid's 88 on Metacritic, and I look at a few weeks ago, Deathloop also has an 88, and I read the impressions on Deathloop, and some people are like, it's very, there's a lot of issues that people find it mediocre in certain ways and handholdy in certain ways. I think that this game will be a lot more well received by the public. So forget the reviews.
Absolutely.
I think the review, like people that play this will love it 100 times more than people that play Deathloop, even though they have the same critical review score. I think it's night and day difference.
Yeah, it's interesting with the reviews. It's like if a big popular game like Zelda got an 8 or something like Metal Gear Solid got an 8, it's almost like a reviewer would have to justify why it's not good enough to be higher.
Exactly.
Where if a big no-name game out of nowhere gets an 8, like I don't know, like
if you got an indie game, right?
Yeah, like an indie game gets an 8, it's like you're justifying why it's so great to be an 8. Where with Metroid, it seems like there's a lot of these nitpicks across the reviews that are pulling it down to 9s out of 10s. But I see what you're saying. Where something like it seems like with a big popular classic franchise like Metroid, it only has to be worse than the previous entries. It only has points to be lost. Where something from Arcane, like a brand new IP, only has points to gain.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Totally. The one thing that is interesting to me, I don't know if you thought about this too, is I was looking up the score of Samus Returns. Right. It's
85.
85 on Metacritic. It was the other Metroid game made by Mercury Steam.
Yep.
And I mean, I know reviewers have changed and the scores have differentiated, but to me, I did not love that game. I would not give that game an 85. I would give that game a 77, kind of a high 70s. It does kind of make me curious about how I'm going to feel about this Metroid game. It is higher rated, right? Dread is 88, but I don't think that the other Mercury Steam Metroid game is what it should be. So I'm curious if I'm going to play Dread and go, wow, this game is really good, but it's an 81 to me.
So I mean, I would have rated Samus Returns higher, just because when I think about the
higher than an 85 or higher than a 79.
Higher than a 79. Like to me, 85 is probably right on as a lower tier Metroid, because I mean, you just got to think about the 3DS as a platform, like. Compared to other games like that, like it felt very smooth to play. It felt very polished, and like it just felt like a really polished action adventure with good controls, good sound, good music, pretty good graphics for 3DS. And I think its only fault was when it came out on the system, and being a remake, right? It's a remake of a Game Boy game, and
I think the remake is what really, like, I agree with you about it being smooth and a good, it's well polished game. I think really what for me, what drags the score down in my mind is that it is a remake, and some of the gameplay elements, because it's a remake, are outdated or feel old or just don't click the way I want them to. I just felt like it wasn't that enjoyable. It was polished, and
I'll say it's the only Metroid game I never beat. So I mean, it's probably on the lower tier for me on Metroids.
Okay,
but that's mostly due to the hardware and the look of it and things like that, and the remake. But I mean, I don't know.
That's why I didn't have faith originally with Metroid Dread, is because I did not think that Samus Returns did that well. But I'm sure everyone at Nintendo, including Mercury Steam, said, "Oh my God, Samus Returns did do really well."
Not sales wise.
No, but I mean, like, we made a great game.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like they made a pretty good game. So I'm hoping that this game actually is, in my eyes, wow, Mercury Steam knocked it out of the park. I have faith. I want to have faith that after Dread, Mercury Steam is a company that will make amazing games henceforth. Where right now, I'm like, okay, I think they can do a pretty good job. We'll see how well Dread goes.
Well, I mean, it's with the 88 on Metacritic and the reviews
I know
and videos that I've seen. Like, I pretty much know it's gonna be a great game.
Me too. I have no doubt in my mind. It'll be great.
Like a lot of the flaws I'm reading about aren't really that big of flaws, right? So I have pretty high hopes about it. I'm really excited. I think there's a lot we haven't seen. I heard something. There's like 25 to 30 bosses.
Okay. Don't spoil everything for me.
Which is, I know it's a lot. Like I haven't actually looked up what the bosses are, so I don't know if Mother Brain and Ridley or Ganondorf have the crazy cameo.
Could you imagine? It's funny. It's funny. We were talking about Smash Bros. I forgot to say, wouldn't it be so funny if like January 2nd rolled around and Sakurai just sends out a tweet and he's like, "Guess what, everyone? 3." And he just says the number 3 as like a Fighter Pass 3, and that's all he says. And like for months, people are just like hyped and like foaming at the mouth. That'd be so funny.
He just posts the letter 3, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Fighter Pass 3!" And he's like, "No, actually, I'm making a Kid Icarus 3."
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, anyway, so back to Metroid.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you think this is going to be a game of the year now? It's kind of entered the conversation more prominently than it had before.
Yeah, it's funny. I was going to ask you the same question.
Let me ask the questions.
Yeah. I think it will definitely be in top 10 for sure, but top 5 probably in most kind of, review sites and probably by the general population. I don't think it's going to be number 1. It's not. I don't think it's going to be number 1 for me personally, but I don't think it'll be number 1 by most places, and I don't think it'll win number 1 at the official Game Awards with Jeff
Keighley.
I
thought our official Game Awards were the Reset Era ones.
Ours are, but I'm just saying, the official are the ones that there's an actual audience and stage for. Yeah, but I don't think it'll win Reset Eras either.
Okay, I mean, I'm not sure yet how it'll fall. Like, I mean, for me personally, I feel like there's a strong chance it'll end up in my top 3, if not my number 1.
I think it will be top 3, probably even for Reset Era. I think top 5 for sure.
Top 3 for Reset Era for sure. I think it could be number 1 if the user, I think
it'll be number 4. Top 5 for sure. Number 4.
I mean, it could be one of those games that the feedback from gamers is stronger than the reviewers. Do you know what I mean?
True. And the other thing is, especially with Reset Era, everyone's going to be playing that game where I think, more people are going to be playing Metroid on Reset Era than they will be playing, for example, Psychonauts 2.
That's what I'm saying. Metroid's such a big, in gamer circles, it's such a popular franchise.
I know. So that's one thing I think it gives
I feel like it will definitely win like the Switch Game of the Year from all the major websites.
100%.
Unless Shin Megami Tensei 5 just really, really blows you away.
Monster Hunter Rise came out,
or
too.
I was going to say Rise, because Rise actually landed, I think, around the same place on Metacritic, 88, 87, 89. Yeah, it's hard to say. We still don't know. I mean, but at this point, like it looking like the contenders really are Returnal and Ratchet and Clank and Metroid. I really can't think of what else. I mean, Halo's coming out so late in the year; it's not really in the question anymore for most publications.
Yeah, I know Psychonauts 2 is up there.
Psychonauts 2, yes, but in hardcore
Resident Evil
circles,
8. I know there are people that love Resident Evil 8.
Yeah. I think among all these, they'll probably all be nominated or a good
top
handful
10,
at the VGAs. Like
I think they'll be top 10 or nominated, but I don't think Resident Evil 8 will win, for example.
Yeah, and the other thing, I don't think Metroid Dread will win either. Just based on the reviews, it sounds like it's a little bit of, it is like a traditional Metroid.
Yeah.
So it's not like this groundbreaking new idea. You know what I mean? So there is a little bit of it's like giving a 2D Mario game of the year,
Yes, exactly.
It's not like Breath of the Wild completely shaking up the whole franchise. This isn't that kind of game. It's more like, it's almost like a throwback to what Metroid already is, versus really, really pushing the envelope of what like this, I guess, character and genre could be. Like could they? Could the next Metroid 6 or the next 2D Metroid completely change the formula, or is Metroid stuck in this same formula? Like,
I think there will be a 2D Metroid. I mean, it just works so well in 2D. Like, kind of like this. I know it's not sprite based anymore, but like
that's what I mean with 2D Metroid. Can they change the formula?
I think they'll change it up a fair bit. I mean, I hope they do. I think they'll keep the core the same because they just know it works. I mean, people like it. And I think, again, we haven't talked about sales yet, but I think this will be the best-selling 2D Metroid probably any Metroid.
It'll be the best on Metroid for sure.
So I think with that, they'll probably say, well, we don't want to, this is actually working now. Let's actually keep with this.
But I mean, think
core.
about something like A Link Between Worlds and how they changed the formula with that of buying your items and going to dungeons in different orders. Like,
you're right.
Could they maybe do something like that with Metroid?
There's definitely things that could change up about it. I think they said this is the last game in this kind of storyline. So whenever they put a new 2D Metroid out, it will be a reboot. Not necessarily a reboot, but a different story per se. So I think if they're gonna change the formula, this would be the time to do it. Is the next one.
Yeah, and I mean, and also tying this all back, I think because the formula hasn't gotten a big ground shake, it's not as obvious of a Game of Year winner. It's almost like a kind of a lame Game of the Year winner in a way, right? Because where something like Metroid Prime or Mario 64 really shook the tree, this is not doing that.
This game, it'll be remembered as a great addition to the series, but I don't think it's going to be remembered as the pinnacle of the franchise.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I do wonder in years from now how people will score their top 5 Metroid games.
That's true. I mean, this could be, the number one. It could surpass Super Metroid. I don't think it will.
There's something about Metroid games, especially 2D ones. I mean, the only non-2D ones are Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. Let's be honest, that matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as 2D Metroids go, it's almost like the kind of game where it's not suddenly apparent how amazing it is. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, it seemed like when Fusion came out, at least my memory was that no one was really being like, "Oh my god, this game is this amazing classic. We're gonna talk about this forever."
I loved it. I played it like 4 times.
But people who bought it were like, "Yeah, this is a really great 2D Metroid that complements the WoW 3D brand new first-person Metroid." Mm-hmm. That got all the Game of the Year buzz. That got all the talk. No one, like, the Fusion didn't get Game of the Year buzz. So I just mean Metroid's one of those games where you play it and you might be like, "Oh, this is a really good game. I'm enjoying it." It's not melting your eyeballs in the back of your brain. But 10 years from now, you're going to think back and be like, yeah, that is a really tight and well-made game. And I can still replay it today. Where, something that's more of a graphical showpiece, 3D, over-the-shoulder kind of shooter is aged.
I think one of the things that, is the problem with 2D Metroid, not necessarily a problem, but to never really get to that Game of the Year level is they don't really have a kind of a clear story. And Game of the Year contenders are usually a bit more lore and story heavy. And if you look at Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, sure, there's a lot of reading instead of showing in the story, but there is a story there. There's a lot of things to unpack and read. Where if I look at Fusion, Fusion has a pretty decent story, but a lot of the 2D Metroid games, it's kind of you're just in a world doing something. You know what I mean? Like it's not a really story driven.
Well, apparently this Metroid Dread does. I mean, some of the positives, without getting into spoilers, is that the story and cinematics are really well done.
That's what I heard too. Yeah. So I think, and again, I thought Metroid Fusion had an awesome story, and I know this is a direct continuation from that story. And I heard that, at the beginning of Dread, they actually recap what happens in Fusion because it's so closely linked.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the story in this Metroid because of that reason.
Yeah, same here. And just like, seeing the Chozo in the trailers and seeing how that all ties together.
Yeah.
I wonder if there'll be space pirates in Mother Brain or if that's just off the table or what.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's exciting to think that the next time we talk in 2 weeks, we'll basically be reviewing Metroid Dread.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. I'm excited.
So another question. What do you think? Should Mercury Steam, should Nintendo buy them or what?
Does it really matter right now? Like, they're basically solely working on 2D Metroids. But I think...
Well, we don't know what they're working on next. I just don't know if Nintendo's going to say, hey, like, get to work on the next Metroid or get to work on the next 2D game. Like, I can see them taking, their kind of similar 2D engine and making it work with, like, a new Kid Icarus or something. Like,
yeah, the only thing I'm curious about, and I think this depends on it, is how much hand-holding Nintendo took with Mercury Steam to make sure this got did well.
I'm pretty sure they held a lot of hand.
So that's what I'm saying. If I'm the owner, if I'm Nintendo and I'm holding this developer's hand all the way through and making sure they made a great game, is that a developer I trust to buy and say I trust you to make games for us and You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they did that.
It depends how
like,
it's made,
like,
right?
I know,
think
but if
with
you
something like Luigi's Mansion, they give a little more freedom to next level games.
Yeah, but if you
like
look at
their design
Retro,
choices.
Retro I know is first party, but if you look at Retro, they're saying we're giving it to you. We know you're going to do a great game. Take Metroid Prime 4. You got this. Where with this Metroid, they're saying no. We need to make sure you're doing this right. You know, I think
We don't really know what happened behind the scenes because Tanabe
I know
works on Metroid Prime.
I
So
know
as far as we know that Nintendo in Japan, like EPD and Sakamoto, did the level designing. Like they actually designed the levels for like the world design was done in Japan.
Okay.
We don't know if that's the case with something like Metroid Prime. I don't think so. Just because it's 3D and a different beast. But we do know that a lot of the scenario, like a lot of the designing and scenario, was done in Japan. So it's almost like, it's not like hey, Mercury Steam, do the next Metroid game, come up with everything. It's more like, hey, here's like what we drafted. We need you to make it.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, is that being that level of involvement? Does that mean you want to buy that company?
I think it depends on do they have a good time working with them? Are they even for sale? Like, is it what's going on?
I know of course there's all
a lot of speculation happening. I think they would be a good addition to Nintendo's roster though, to have another developer making these kind of games. Clearly they're talented, and I mean clearly they did a better job under Nintendo than they did under Konami.
I mean they're doing great. I'm not stressed about it. If they got bought, I think it'd be a good acquisition.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'd be put on the next 2D Metroid right away. Like, why not have it come out if this game does well enough, why not have a new 2D or new Metroid come out every couple of years?
Seriously. We just need to find a company to make the third-person Metroid.
Naughty Dog.
They really should have bought Housemarque. That's honestly, they should have bought them.
And Sony bought them. And Sony bought Blue Point Games as well.
I know, yeah.
That's why I kind of bring up the buying thing, because it seems like that's the way the industry's going. If you have a talented developer,
get them quick.
You're going to get bought, because why wouldn't Microsoft look at this and say, hey, they just got an 88 on a game for Nintendo. This looks great. Like, let's work with them. Let's just buy them. They're probably less than $1 billion.
Exactly. Like I think we're at the point now where if a first party a indie company or like a second party quote unquote is making games solely for one console, it's at the point now where just buy them. Like they're already working for you anyways. It just makes everything easier.
Totally, and in the case of next level games, they're able to grow them, right? They're able to buy all of a sudden they're like, well, we're gonna hire a bunch of people and get you a new office and get you new equipment and all these things that they can't do on their own.
Yeah.
I would love to see Mercury Steam join the fold and do more. I really like what they put together from what I've seen, and I think they could just do cool stuff with other Nintendo franchises, right? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, some other news. There's not a lot of other news here, but Far Cry 6 reviews dropped as well because that came out today.
Okay.
It has a 76 on Metacritic.
Oh, okay. I thought I had a little bit higher, but yeah.
I mean, a lot of the reviews are around an 8, but there are a few lower scores, 7s and 7.5, and even I believe one score is like a 4.
Oh wow.
Apparently, it's just the same old Far Cry, and it is one of the lower scoring Far Cry games in memory. And it's interesting because it's the first kind of next gen one. So I wonder if this is kind of I was thinking about it today. It's interesting with Ubisoft. It's like, well, can they actually shake up their formula? Or is their formula so ingrained in this massive development cycle, they're almost like, a Ford Motors building a car. And it's like, hey, build a new type of car. And they're like, well, we have this giant assembly line process from Singapore all the way to, Texas. Like, it's just like, it's easier said than done for them to change the formula. Because it seems like a lot of Ubisoft games are kind of built on this. They built the first few Far Cry games. Now it's blown into this giant thing that releases every year. And same thing with Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, the last Far Cry I played was, I think, Far Cry 3, back with you for a little bit.
Yeah, and Far Cry 3 was good. It was on, PS3?
Yeah, I think so. I just
Jungle
remember
theme?
watching you play that. It was pretty cool. So I'm not a big fan of the Far Cry series, but I know what you're saying. I'm curious about, if Ubisoft, you're right, can really break that mold. Because they do. I mean, we look at the scores of this game. They are kind of starting to suffer from, fans saying, well, give us something different.
Yeah, fatigue.
It's like, I know, I'm sure even some of our listeners love Assassin's Creed. And I have friends that love, to this day, playing every Assassin's Creed. So there are those people that they buy the game for the same formula. I mean, look at every sports game. I know it's slightly a different genre altogether. But people like to buy what they know. They know the product they're getting. They just want to have more of it. I mean, not everyone wants to have that kind of change-up, revolutionary, mix-up of gameplay. But, I mean, if the scores are going to be like this, and you're right, it's the first kind of next-gen game, so...
Doesn't bode well to do another rehash for for Far Cry 7.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I'm curious about the first next gen only Assassin's Creed.
Well, that's probably coming next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, next gen only.
Well, I think by the fall of 2022 we'll be pretty much firmly into PS5, Xbox Series territory. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Who's to say? Maybe the next Assassin's Creed will be Switch Pro exclusive. Just take a dive. Ubisoft.
Yeah, Nintendo's like, we've acquired Ubisoft, like the rabbits and all that.
Yeah, we've acquired Ubisoft. I always fear who the next big purchase will be. One day you'll wake up and it'll be like, oh great, Microsoft bought Capcom.
Yeah, really.
But I gotta say, when it comes to Microsoft, like I know Forza and Halo are coming out soon, but it's still this kind of weird thing where we're now looking at Q1 next year, and we're seeing, Nintendo's got Pokemon and Triangle Strategy, and Sony's got Horizon and Gran Turismo. So it's like you see the exclusives. I'm still wondering where the exclusives are with Xbox. I know this is a bit of a different topic altogether, but
I think that's a little unfair because you just named 2 games.
I know, but it's just kind of like,
3 systems.
I have an Xbox now for over a year. They've promised like this world of new exclusives, and like the first major exclusives for one are not exclusive to Series. They're on Xbox One, but also it's Halo and Forza again. So it's just a little bit of a. It's kind of like I think Microsoft needs to get this kind of mindset that every couple months they need an exclusive.
I think, but you know what? I think they are getting there. Like. I think Bethesda is really going to fill in a lot of those gaps.
I agree. They're going to get there. It just seems like how is it taking this long? Like even Nintendo, they're basically a much smaller developer than Microsoft's developers.
But imagine Deathloop is only on Xbox. And then Ghostwire Tokyo.
You're right, yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo, Psychonauts, they're only on Xbox. And
No,
then they have another Ori come out, and then they whatever.
Like as an overall publisher, like Microsoft does well. Like they release Flight Simulator and Minecraft, and and like you said, Psychonauts 2 is Game of the Year contender. So it's like it's not that they're not releasing these big games. They're not one of the top publishers of the year. It's just interesting how all the conversation seems to be around these exclusives like Deathloop and Metroid, and it's at some point it's gotta hurt Microsoft. Like Game Pass is great, but there is a reason why Microsoft offers this great deal with Game Pass, but people are still more frothing for a PS5 and buying up all the games, and you know what I mean?
I mean, let's wait until December when Halo kind of season is approaching, and let's see how big it is online.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know what you're saying. I just think we had to see. We've kind of looked at Deathloop and how people have been reacting to it and how popular it was kind of and promoted, and now Metroid. I think we're going to see similar for Halo. So I think it's kind of up in that same feeling. I think we just haven't seen it yet for Xbox, so you're feeling this way. Yeah,
true. I mean, I love my Xbox. Don't get me wrong. I play it a lot.
Yeah, Game Pass. You get it for free.
Totally. I just kind of want there to be like it's nice to have a new console and a brand new game that's made tailored for that console.
Yeah, I mean, even PS5, they only have 2 maybe 3 PS5 exclusives.
Well, Returnal, Ratchet, Deathloop, Spider-Man. I guess Spider-Man doesn't count.
Demon Souls.
Demon
so 4.
Souls.
I missed.
Kena.
I missed.
That's PS4.
Yeah, I missed Deathloop. That's it.
But still, that's a good little lineup of exclusives. Plus all the director's cuts of previous games, right? Death Stranding director's cut and Ghost of Tsushima.
You're right.
So it just feels like a much better, I don't know, family of games. But you're right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. What else comes out in October? I guess for Switch, Mario Party comes out at the end of the month. November has Pokemon.
I know. I think the next of like the Until Dawn franchise. I think the next one comes out too.
Oh yeah.
What's it called?
There's that also. There's Back for Blood. There's Back for Blood coming out, right?
Oh yeah, but what's the Dark Pictures?
I don't know. I think I know vaguely what you're talking about. It's coming to next gen, right?
Yeah, I just want to see when it releases.
Monkey Ball came out
October 22nd is House of Ashes. It's
okay,
like the next,
cool.
Yeah, it's like those campy choose your own adventure horror.
I'm sure there'll be a couple more surprises through the year.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some indies that'll be. I always love the indie scene right now because there's games I've never heard of that come out. It's like, oh, they got an 87 on Metacritic, and it's like, oh, like people love it, and I'm like, oh, damn, I've never even heard of this game. And instantly it's on my instantly bought or on my radar.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really that indie that's really making my eyes open right now.
Oh, I have a list of games that I want.
I mean, one coming soon though.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's some that have come out on Steam that I'm waiting for that have been announced for Switch that aren't out yet.
Yeah, the one I was really looking forward to, Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. I think that's going to get delayed till the winter next year. I think it did get delayed till 2022, didn't it?
Yeah, it got delayed to 2022.
That hurt. Silk Song obviously hurt.
Silk Song, it'll come when it comes. Like I can.
Yeah, wait. I mean, I guess I played Cyber Ninja, or Cyber Shadow, which was really fun. But I got to give that 12 minutes a try on Xbox.
Yeah.
It has all the famous voices.
I didn't know it had famous voices.
So the other thing is the Switch OLED is coming out along with Metroid on Friday. The impressions so far, reviews have been really actually surprisingly positive, saying the screen quality looks great. I know you're not getting one. I'm not getting one, although I felt a little bit tempted to buy one and then probably sell my current Switch.
Yeah, it took me a couple minutes to hover over that cancel pre-order button.
Did you cancel?
I did, yeah.
I wonder if it's sold out though. Probably not.
Oh no, I think you can get it instantly for sure.
Really? Okay. I do think Switch is going to still be the number one selling console this fall.
I think so too. You know what's funny though? I was in my office today at work, and 2 teachers. So one teacher said, "Hey, if you have any way of getting me a PS5, I'll pay you plus interest if you can get me one." And then another teacher overheard that and said, "Me too. If you can do that, Derek, and find a PS5 for me and get it, I'll reimburse you and plus some."
You know why they want PS5 and not an Xbox? Because of the exclusives.
Yeah, the teacher wants to play Returnal, the 40-year-old.
Oh yeah, that's right. I thought you were going to tell me they were going to buy Switch OLEDs.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, I wonder if like my real hope is that something like Metroid Dread shows up on the NPD tracker for October, but also like November and December, and like becomes one of those evergreen titles, and it's a great holiday. I think
Metroid will, again, we've already agreed on it, but will be the best-selling Metroid, and I think it will, it will be noticeable. Like it's not going to be one of those games that just kind of comes and goes. I think Deathloop, for example, it's already gone. Like it's come and gone. You know what I mean? And I think Metroid will be talked about for the next couple of months. I think it'll be talked about up until Game of the Year discussions.
Yeah. I remember, was it about a year ago, there were those rumors that Nintendo had the lofty software goals for this year. The 250 million.
Yeah.
And I kind of was thinking about that, like circling back, like did they really have this amazing software lineup for that, or?
That's what I told you when we discussed it.
Discuss what?
When we discussed whether they're going to reach that target.
I know. I'm just like, now that we really know their lineup, are they going to do it? Is a lot weighing on Arceus? You know,
I mean, Arceus will sell well, and don't forget they have Diamond and Pearl coming out. And those will sell well
I know. I'm not saying they won't reach it, but it's interesting because it wasn't this explosive lineup like Metroid and Advance Wars and even Mario Party. That's not really like the most explosively large holiday lineup when you think.
You're right, but
from a certain perspective,
if you think of Mario Party, it will sell, especially near the holiday, 12 million.
No,
like
it won't sell 12 million over the holiday. Like
well,
12 million total.
The first Switch one has passed 10 million.
Yeah, but it's been out for years. So
okay, you're right. Sorry,
they didn't do it in the first holiday.
You're right. It isn't evergreen. Okay, so let's say I don't know 7 million.
Yeah, well, that'd be lofty. I think that'd be really high. But yeah, I'm not saying Mario Party's not a huge game.
If you think about what's Pokemon going to do? 20 million?
Well, all I'm trying to say is it's not a new Smash Bros, new Mario Kart, new Mario, new Zelda.
Yeah,
it's not a massive.
This is what I said when you got so hyped by these software. You said there's going to be some huge games, and I said I don't think so.
I know. Well, it's funny. I mean, yeah,
but I mean, not. The other thing though to point that out though is the fact that we haven't seen big games, and they did have that goal, and it has been COVID, raises kind of some eyebrows, thinking maybe those games got delayed, and we're gonna have a crazy next year. I know I'm building your hype right now, but
we already do have a crazy 2022.
Do we?
Well, think about it: Pokemon Arceus,
okay,
Triangle Strategy, Splatoon 3,
okay,
Bayonetta 3.
True, you're right.
Breath of the Wild 2. Mario and Rabbids 2.
Yeah, okay, you're
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge.
You're right.
Silk Song. We'll get on the year of Silk Song.
Yeah, you're right.
And then probably something else from Nintendo. Oh, 3D Kirby. And none of those games that we just and DLC for other games. And the only game that's actually from internal Nintendo would be
Xenoblade
Zelda
3,
team.
probably.
Maybe, yeah. So
Metroid Prime remake, if that's the rumors are true.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot. 2022 sounds like a big, actually a really great year, and I think you're right
for all the 3 consoles.
Same, yeah. But I think you're right that COVID kind of pushed the conversation on a lot of these things later.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember when there was that leak last year, and we kind of found out about the 2D Metroid as early as like the beginning of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? And they the Paper Mario leaked, and didn't a Donkey Kong leak as well? And there's the Paper Mario hint where like Paper Mario had a hat with Donkey Kong, and then had a hat with Samus's helmet.
I don't remember that.
So, anyways, maybe that was hinting at the Donkey Kong that's coming.
I would love a Donkey Kong, or I love something with a new Mario Kart gets even mentioned would be nice.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see. I would like to see another racing game from Nintendo. Like, clearly there's a hunger for racing games, but give us a 1080 or a Wave Race or a Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
Or a Kirby style racing. I don't need another
Extreme
Mario
G,
Kart.
right? Is that made by them?
No, that's a claim.
Okay.
But F-Zero, you mean?
Yeah, F-Zero. That's
Extreme
fine,
G. Yeah, Extreme G is coming back. Oh, what you do?
You know what? Honestly, if Extreme G came out on the Nintendo 64 Switch stuff, will I think people will be happy about. But
you know what? I think we mentioned this, but the fact that Winback and Sin and Punishment were there day one bodes really well.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Banjo's there. I have hope for all sorts of games.
Gemini
Mischief
Jet
Makers,
Force will be there.
Jet Force Gemini, Perfect Dark. Who knows, right? Like, and the fact that they're charging extra for that service means I feel like they're going to have to justify it a little bit more than the SNES Online.
I agree. They have to have a steady stream of games keep coming for it.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for that.
The only thing I'm curious about is there's not that many N64 games. Eventually, if they even release 3 a month or 2 a month or even 1 a month, after 2 years, like the well is pretty dry of solid games. I'm wondering how they're going to justify that cost. Maybe they just bring out GameCube games or whatever with the Switch Pro.
The well goes deeper than you might think. Where a lot of SNES classics from Square Enix and Capcom and everything and Konami, they did not want to bring back on the service. Mm-hmm. The N64 had a lot more of those kind of crappier third-party games. Like you mentioned, Extreme G from Acclaim. Like, that is the kind of game I can see coming onto the service.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know. Like, it looks more... I almost feel more positive about N64. And the fact that they're digging as deep as Winback... Like, if they're going to get into that third-party zone that they don't seem to get into as much on the SNES, then I'll be very happy.
Yeah, just give me some Blast Core and I'll be happy and settled.
Once you get an Xbox and you get Rare Replay, you're going to have all that.
Yeah, I know. I actually really think I'm going to get a Xbox by the end of 2022.
Wow. If you can find it.
I could probably find one within a week, and you won't be able to find a PS5 within a year.
Well, I don't know. You have methods that I don't have.
Yeah.
I really want the Metroid Dread
one
special
Twitter
edition.
account. Yeah.
Yeah, what Wario?
No, L Babbins.
Oh. Yeah, I can see myself getting a PS5 by the end of next year too, especially if they have a big tentpole release.
Well, I mean, if you want one, like when I'm looking, like, I actually might look for my teacher friends, but you're at the top of the list if you really want one.
Well, I mean, I don't right now just because the lineup doesn't speak to me yet. Games like Horizon and God of War are not my favorite.
Returnal is good enough to get a PS5.
I don't know about that.
It's such a good game. It would be your game of the year.
I want to play Returnal, but I don't know if that one game justifies the whole console.
Yeah, and you don't like the Souls games, so it's not like Demon Souls. And Ratchet and Clank is like it's awesome, but it's Ratchet and Clank. It's nothing.
Yeah, and I'm almost at the point now where like even if I was gonna get a big third party release like Battlefield or Elden Rings, then I'd probably get it on Xbox just for the.
Yeah, don't get Elden Rings. You won't like it.
No, I probably won't. I just really like the art. I really like the art style.
You just don't like games that require any challenge. That's why I don't know if Returnal will work for you because you have to be somewhat good at a game.
Well, Metroid's supposed to be pretty hard.
Yeah, but that's like Nintendo hard.
You know what? With some of the cons in the review thread, someone was saying that the last boss took them 6 hours.
Oh my god!
And someone was like, "He means the whole game, right?" And they're like, "No, just the last boss." And I'm just like, "Whoa."
Okay,
so
that sounds good.
Apparently, it is quite difficult.
But you know what? I've also seen people I've read about people saying Returnal, they can never beat the third world. And for me, it's like, how are you so bad at a video game? Like, it's really not that. Like, no offense to our listeners that probably haven't passed the third world, but the game's not that hard. So I have a feeling like a lot of people that love video games just aren't at the same. Like you and I think are very good video gamers. Even amongst the hardcore crowd, I think you and I are still quite above average.
I'm okay. I don't play competitively enough to like jump into a shooter and just be good at it.
I don't think we're on the extreme level of the high end, but I think we're in the still above average.
Maybe. Yeah. It depends. It depends if we're talking about like the average gamer, as in people with their mobile phones playing Angry Birds, or if we're talking about like a subset of gamers. I don't mean
mobile. People that own an actual console and play. Once in a while.
I don't even know about that because when I think about something like Xbox, like everyone who owns an Xbox is so deep into the achievements and the online, and they're all good at online games. Like I always feel
everyone
like
everyone I know that plays Smash Bros. I crush, and everyone that I know that plays Mario Kart, I crush, and everyone that I know that play even the Souls games, tons of people can't beat them. Like Sekiro, a lot of people couldn't beat. I beat. Like again, I'm not.
You are really good at games,
but I think you are too. I'm just saying I'm not saying that we're amazing or whatever. I'm just saying when it comes to difficulty, I always think that I can do a level harder than what people usually recommend or say it's hard.
True.
And
I feel like it really honestly depends. Like for example, Last of Us 2, I did on hard. No problems at all. But Doom Eternal, I did on very easy.
Hard is considered really easy on Last of Us 2.
Well, like it's still the second highest challenge.
Yeah, but I think people say you should start on Survivor because the game's too easy. I played it on Survivor, and it's like that's a normal difficulty.
I mean, as much as I love The Last of Us 2, you're right. It almost gives you more tools for success than it.
That's why I honestly every time I play a game like that now, I go on the thread and I ask people for someone that's a skilled gamer, what difficulty? Because every time, The Evil Within 2, they told me. The Last of Us 2, they told me. Like every game, I always take their recommendation.
It depends for me. I mean, sometimes I get it's such a fine balance for me of like I want it to be challenging, but I don't want. I don't want to be frustrated.
And it depends on the game too, because like Wolfenstein, for example, I don't care about beating Wolfenstein on a hard difficulty, or even like Doom Eternal. Like I want somewhat of a challenge, but I don't need to beat them the hardest difficulty. I want to shred monsters or shred Nazis. Like I don't like I would have more fun playing those games on the lowest difficulty than the highest.
That's why I played Doom on such a low difficulty.
Yeah, exactly. Where if I play, like, for example, Elden Rings, I know there's only one difficulty, but another thing about me is, like, which I think differs from you is the greatest difference between you and me and our skill is I'm willing to grind, like, and try it and try it and try it and be frustrated and then beat it. You know, like, I think of Celeste. Like, you
have more resilience and persistence.
You would never beat the Celeste hardest levels because you would die 600 times on the same screen. And I did. I died 600 times and I eventually perfected it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't have the patience for that. I almost want games to be shorter and easier nowadays.
Yeah, I'm curious. Again, going back to Metroid, I'm just curious of how you and I are both going to feel about Metroid's difficulty.
I feel like even if it does challenge me a bit, I'm going to persist. And I think I've played enough of these Metroidvania, like, 2D games that, like, I'm more skilled in these types of games.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's more the shooters and the third-person games that I'm not as good at. So I think I'll be fine. I think maybe you'll probably beat it. You'll probably beat it and 100% it easier. I don't know if I'll ever truly 100% it. Just because I don't get much satisfaction out of doing that and backtracking.
Oh, so, for games like this, not for every game, but games like this I would, because if I didn't 100%, that means there's rooms and, like, challenges that I didn't experience. And I was like, well, I want to experience, like, you know, the secret room that has this cool thing.
Yeah, but a lot of the secrets that are hidden in a 2D Metroid, it's, like, rewarding and fun to find, but it's not so rewarding that I want to, like, do it in the post game. Do you know what I mean? It's I find the ones that are hidden in Metroid Prime, the trilogy, are much more rewarding because they're usually involved in, like, you know, little environmental puzzles, or they're, you know, you like blow a piece of a statue's head off and it's hidden in a ball puzzle or something. Like, it's a little more satisfying, where the 2D ones, it's like, oh, there's a brick in the wall that you have to blow up. Oh, there it is.
Some of the speed boost challenges in Fusion and Zero Mission are unbelievably satisfying to do.
Well, I know those are back in Dread, so.
Well, way to ruin that for me.
Spoiler. I'm interested to see how the sequence breaking works. Because apparently you can do things really out of order.
If you can bomb jump, and you can do an infinite bomb jump like most Metroid games, then there's probably a lot of things you can break.
Yeah, and I'm interested to know if there's going to be, like, runs where people don't kill any enemies. You know what I mean? And things like that.
I think you have to kill the enemies. I think that's part of the story.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure about that.
I don't know either. I think it's going to be like you go and get an upgrade that kills the enemy, that opens up a door to get you to the next area to get
probably,
an upgrade. Yeah.
And, you know, I got to say, with just the way this game rolled out, I think we talked about this before, like, from the announcement from the rumors, 15 years worth of rumors, to the announcement, to the media cycle, to the previews and reviews, and, like, just everything they've done with modernizing it, and so it's like something new and something old. This is the absolute perfect example of how to reveal and market a video game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did it perfectly. They didn't
even Nintendo bungles it all the time, right?
Yeah, I agree. They didn't overdo it like Deathloop, but they didn't make it a totally unknown game coming out.
Exactly. I feel like they were just on the crest of overdoing it. But I think, you know, being a Metroid fan, I'm a little more sensitive to being like, oh my god, don't show me anything new.
Yeah.
Where that's not really a thing with other video games or fans of other games.
Yeah.
But it is very cool. It's like, you know, I'm excited for tomorrow night at midnight to start playing, because that's when I'm going to start the game. And just, like, I don't know, it's the two franchises that get me the most excited are new Metroids and new Zeldas. And I'm very excited, and it's just cool because, you know, you're playing something that, even if it's not the best or it's, like, got flaws, like, it'll be talked about and part of this kind of video game history forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Till you're dead, they'll be like, yeah, Metroid Dread from 2021 was, like, you know, there's only 10 Metroids.
Are you going to play this Metroid primarily on your OLED, or are you going to play some in handheld?
I'll probably play entirely on the TV.
Okay, yeah.
I don't see myself playing on the handheld at all. Like, probably when I beat the game, maybe, like, when I'm just trying to clear out some of the world, I'll do it that way. But I want to see the full graphics. 75-inch OLED, baby.
65.
Is it 65? I thought I got 75.
No, you got a 65.
Oh,
yeah.
Returning it. Yeah. What's the next game after Metroid that you're really excited about? I guess it'd be Eden Ring.
Elden Ring, yeah. Elden Ring. I think Pokemon Arceus is something that's still on my radar.
Yeah, there's a new trailer. Did you watch that new trailer for it?
I was like on my phone with crappy internet at the time, so I like saw parts of it. Apparently they fixed the frame rate a lot, and yeah. But yeah, so Elden Ring. I'm just looking real quick at my list, and then
Triangle Strategy, right?
Triangle Strategy, Horizon, of course. Dying Light 2, maybe if a friend wants to play it. But
you've got a busy Q1 for gaming.
I know, but the other thing is, I also have a lot of games this past year that are still on my radar of wanting to buy. Like, I still want to get Ghost of Tsushima. I still want to get Tales of Arise. I still want to get the Neo Collection. I still want to get Deathloop. So I
still want to get Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, that game. It's a really good game. Like,
maybe I'll ask for that, like for my birthday or something.
Yeah, or Christmas or something. All right, are we going? We're still on a podcast. Are we gonna do?
I'm just trailing off in the thought, looking at my Xbox in the side of the room. Like,
are we gonna? Are we still gonna do what you've been playing?
Sure. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been playing much.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I told you over the last. Sometimes I think we've talked about it in a podcast, but we haven't. But I actually beat Psychonauts 2.
Yeah, I think you told me that. Yeah.
I told you that outside the podcast. Absolutely loved it. 9.5 out of 10. And you know, I really love Metroid, so I think it's gonna end up my game of the year. But for it to beat Psychonauts 2 is gonna be hard. You know.
Yeah, I think Metroid will beat it for you, but I think Psychonauts 2. So you're saying Psychonauts 2 is solidified in second place, probably.
Right now, it's my number one. It's number one.
Okay. Do you think Halo has a chance of beating it, or Forza?
Yes, I think both of them have a chance.
And
both of them look incredible.
And you don't think Flight Simulator beats it?
No.
Okay.
Not enough of a game there for me.
I really want to play Psychonauts 2.
Pokemon Snap and a few other games fill out the bottom of the list.
For our listeners, it's very, very... I know you hear Peter go on and on about Nintendo games a lot and how much he loves them. He's a bit of a fanboy. But he never raves about non-Nintendo games as much. So it really... Honestly, if he's saying it's a 9.5, then it's a really, really...
Psychonauts, you mean?
Yeah.
It's so good.
That's what I mean. But you never give that kind of praise to non-Nintendo games.
And honestly, I expected to download it, play the first level a little bit, and be absolutely done with it. Like, just like, okay, cool, I tried it.
Yeah.
That's what I expected. I never would have bought this if it wasn't on Game Pass. I didn't back it on Kickstarter or nothing. I never played Psychonauts 1. But something about there's not a lot of 3D platformers out there. It's one of my favorite genres, and it's hard to do right. You know, you have a camera, you've got to try to put a story in there and a motivation, and there's that weird balance between making it too linear or too open. Is it a collective?
You need good gameplay too, right?
And I just feel like it really nailed that balance with such a great, like, it's very gracefully in like it's like the developers really knew what they were doing and going for with a confidence, and it really just tackles the 3D platformer with very well. Like it has different kind of objectives. It has a section that's more guided, a section that's more open. It kind of gives you a little bit of like the explore at your own leisure. There's some side quests. There's lots to collect. The story is wonderful. The voice acting is wonderful. Like, I think I said, other than The Last of Us and Naughty Dog games, it's the best voice acting and cutscenes and story in a game I've ever seen.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like really the story sticks with you and it's touching. Like I feel like I'm still thinking about it and coming down off of it, so to speak.
Okay.
And it's got like a very, I want to say, a childish kind of visual look. Like, it's kind of Jim Henson. Everyone kind of looks like a cartoon or a Muppet. But there is actually a much deeper themes about mental health and very positive themes relating to that. And just
cool.
You know, like helping each other, and it's great. Like, I really, really recommend it. Probably I would say wait till you get an Xbox next year so you can play at 4K 60 frames. 120 frames.
Yeah, okay. I think that's the thing I'm going to do is wait for it, because I really do want to play it, but I know I'm going to get an Xbox within probably in 2022, so I think I'll wait for that.
And will you get Game Pass?
Well, I don't know why I'd ever buy an Xbox without Game Pass.
Okay, I didn't know if you were like such a collector that you're like, no, I want to.
I mean, I probably will still do collecting on the exclusives that are like the big ones, like, you know, the games that I really want. But even then, I don't know. Like, I might just do Game Pass all the way for Xbox. So I'll tell you about the game I was playing. Same as kind of before, but the game that I was playing last week with my friends is that Cruisin' Blast game. because one of them.
So wait, you bought it?
No, my friend that has the Switch that has 30 characters on Smash Bros. He bought it.
Okay, because I that's the other game I've been playing,
and we played. It's so stupidly boring. Like, not boring. Sorry, it's so stupidly like mindless, but it's really fun.
Exactly.
It's like one of those games where I came in last probably every single time because the other two of them knew how to play, but it's like you always feel like you're in the race. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I was always right behind them, and it was always neck and neck.
It's the rubber banding is crazy. Like it always makes you neck and neck.
But that's what makes it kind of fun. Is like it's just like you're just joking around, like laughing and shouting to get in first, and there's nothing really. It's not like Mario Kart where like I can just get a lap ahead of people. It's a game where it's just like you just wait to the last like 3 seconds and boost and hope for the best.
Did you play 4 players?
We only had 3 of us playing. We did 3 players.
Okay, how was that like? It was because in 3 players it's just the 3 of you racing, right?
Yeah, it's just the 3 of us. I mean, I had no problem. I didn't see what the other kind of mode was like or anything like that. We just played maybe 5 or 6 levels.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Because I mean, playing with 2 players or 1 player, you can actually play the cups.
I know that's what they were telling me. They've like gone through almost all the cups now.
So yeah, to me, it's like a great game to play with Vanessa because even Mario Kart's a little too hard for her, and in cruising she's beating me, and she figured out the power sliding and everything.
It's funny. That's what my friend said too. Like the non-Switch owner of the 3 of us, he said Mario Kart is just a game that you either aren't good enough and you have to use the thing where it keeps you on the road. But that's not really fun, or you're not good enough and you fall off the tracks all the time. He's like, this is a perfect kind of game for someone that just wants to go fast and drive a car and not really have to worry about, falling way behind because they're not good. And I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a great kind of point.
And it just it takes me back to like an N64 Dreamcast era of arcade racers, that we don't really get anymore.
Exactly. And this isn't a game I've been playing, but we're talking about, getting games in the upcoming months. And I have pre-ordered Kena, the physical collector's edition.
Okay.
So I'm going to be playing Kena in November.
Oh, because the physical edition comes out later?
Yeah, so they said if I don't know if there was like an if it does well, but I think a couple days after it released digitally, they said it's coming out physically, but only in a collector's edition in November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game. The reviews actually turned out better than I thought they did. We're going to. But
Yes.
it still looks so painfully boring to me. I mean, the visuals look great. It looks like a Pixar movie that was made by the B team.
You know what? But every single person if you read like what people are saying, every single person does not say that. They say like the combat is actually really good. Like it's really good.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see it land on the Reset Era top 10 game of the year list.
Yeah, I think it'll be top. I don't know about top 10, but it'll be top 15 probably. Yeah, it could be top 10.
So that's gonna be your winter game, eh? Your November.
Yeah, I guess it will be my November game. I might go back and play Returnal. Honestly, I was thinking about it earlier today before our podcast, and I'm tempted to just play it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, after Metroid, I don't really know what my next game purchase is going to be. I mean, I sometimes surprise myself with random buys. Like the other night, I was just on the eShop channel.
Yeah.
And I saw that what was it called? Red Faction Remastered was like on a major sale. Like it was like $6, and then I used my coins and it was like $3. So I bought that. I haven't played it yet though. So I never know what I'm gonna buy.
I could never buy a game and then not play it like at least for like 15 minutes the day I bought it. I couldn't just buy a game and have an icon load up, like be loading and be like not gonna play it.
When Doom 1, 2, and 3 came out that one day, I bought all 3 of them, and I've never played Doom 2. I played a little bit of Doom 1. I played quite a bit of Doom 3 just to test it out, and I just have no reason to try number 2. Like,
yeah, I couldn't do that. I'm waiting for Black Friday because, like I said, there's a lot of games that came out last year or this year that I'm hoping go off, 40%, 50% that I can just grab.
I'm gonna look for Resident Evil 8, and I guess Forza and Halo are coming out. I'm trying to think. Maybe
when is Forza coming out? Is there a release
November
date?
9th.
Okay, so it's coming up.
Yeah, and then maybe there'll be. I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be a fun multiplayer game.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, a good crossplay game for Xbox and PS5.
Honestly, I think that dodgeball game would have been really fun.
I never hear anyone talking about it.
Well, you know what? It was a fun game for like the 2 weeks. I loved it. Knockout City was really fun. But yeah, I don't think it had the longevity.
You know what? When Nintendo Switch Online N64 comes out, we've got to try some of the online for that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I didn't know you could do that. That sounds wicked.
Yeah, you can do it with Super Nintendo as well.
That's cool.
Cool. So yeah, I guess in 2 weeks, Derek, we'll be talking about our Metroid Prime review, and maybe there'll be some new news. I think the Animal Crossing Direct happens on the 15th.
Oh yeah, so there will be some news.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting. But yeah, I guess to our listeners, happy Metroid Eve, Metroid release day Eve.
It's not. Tomorrow is the eve.
Well, it's the eve in the sense that tomorrow at midnight by this time tomorrow I'll be sitting in front of my TV, waiting.
2.5 hour countdown.
Just continually pressing the check the Wi-Fi date so that I can play, and hoping that it just lets me in. Okay, Derek. Well, thanks for the talk.
Yeah, it was good.
And thanks to our listeners for joining us this week.
Yes, thanks.
You gotta say something.
This is Derek. See you later.
All right, this is Peter signing out. Thank you.